I did, while maybe I disagreed with him on certain issues, i- this is just, it's such a tragedy to see um, a guy that's so young go out this way. I don't know, guys. So today, I was in the middle of a guitar lesson when I heard the news that Charlie Kirk was shot, and I was just in shock. Um, I was having a really hard time concentrating because, we did have our disagreements. We didn't see everything the same, but, the past 10 years, I've watched his content. Um, and this just feels like in the last 2 years, things have gotten so crazy. Like, I don't remember anybody getting shot in the last decade of abortion debates, woke activist debates, or any of that stuff. And regardless of how you feel about his opinions on certain issues, nobody deserves to die because of an opinion. Um, and it's just weird to watch someone do a type of content I've done before, um, and be somebody that's really was monumental in the culture war the past decade. Um, Die. And it was just really sad. Okay, let me read what I was reading earlier. So it says Charlie Kirk was fatally shot at a Utah campus rally. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA and a key ally of former President Donald Trump, was fatally shot during a speaking event at Utah Valley University on Wednesday. This incident occurred outdoors in Orem, Utah, amid a debate with students, leading to a campus lockdown and a widespread condemnation from political leaders across the spectrum. Authorities are actively searching for the shooter with no motive yet disclosed. As tragedy reignites concerns over political violence and campus security, reactions on social media have splurged, with millions expressing shock and grief, highlighting Kirk's role as a husband and a father. It's actually even more sad because I don't know how this happened. People that know him told me that he um, he had like Secret Service as his security, so I don't know how this happened. Okay, let's see. All right, so okay, so this was him earlier today, like literally this morning. Pearl, I don't agree with your content, but I want to say thank you for being there. Thank you for showing up for a man of Christ. Thanks for watching. I'm just in disbelief. I wish I could. It's so weird because I've interviewed so many of these guys and they really are brave. Like I interviewed Andrew Tate, he got thrown in jail. I interviewed Tommy Sotomayor, thrown in jail, Nick, assassination attempt. And Charlie, I mean, me and my dad went to one of his events probably like 5 years ago now. And I didn't spend a lot of time with Charlie personally, but his right-hand man, like, spent, like, 4 days straight with us. They were really nice, and again, while maybe I disagreed with him on certain issues, I this is just, it's such a tragedy to see, um, a guy that's so young go out this way. Like, he didn't even get to enjoy the second half of life. Okay, let's see. Let me watch this. Um, Share my screen. Um, that's getting rushed. So weird. That was him. Wow. And then with Trump too, this is going to set a precedent for political events. I don't think people are going to be, even streamers. I sent the link to a couple streamers. I don't know if they'll hop on, but it's like, I think a lot of people are going to kind of move differently after this. You have to. Okay, let's see another one. Share this. Oh, Doug, this is like 2 hours long. Let me go to the next one. Okay, and the crazy thing is, Democrats on Reddit can barely contain their glee over Charlie Kirk's shooting. So there's a lot of people that are actually celebrating his death. And this is something I really don't see on the right. I don't see the right having calls for violence against people that disagree with us. I understand people thought some of his opinions were abhorrent or they didn't think they were the right opinions, but he was still a husband and a father and he was doing a job. Fred said, like, these are some of the comments off of the Redditors. Bummer, time to release the files. Well, that's terrible anyway. So what's everyone having for dinner? I hope we truly find out. I truly hope we're in the find out era for shitty human beings. If you want to limit the access to guns for civilization, I guess if he had his own gun, this could have been avoided. What a shit show. I don't care for this guy, but trying to kill him is insane. He did say he was fired up and ready. Oh my gosh. Pro-gun activist shot. Ironic. The video looks like he was shot long range, something like a rifle. Appears to have done serious damage. This is not the way to handle things. However, when you make a career out of spewing vitriol and hate, you are going to attract the crazies. The dude is a clown, but wolf, don't go shooting people you don't like. Yep, this is a major moment. I ain't a betting man, but I can guarantee the shooter was a radical Democrat, and they'll start coming for guns. Charlie is most likely dead, shot to the neck. Yeah, and I don't think I can play the video on YouTube, but if you go on Twitter, it's at the top, and it's there's this guy, Hassan Mafi, says, what happened to Charlie Kirk happens in Gaza every single day, and he cheered for it. Karma comes when people least expect it. And it's just disgusting. I understand we can have a difference in opinion of war, but I mean, he was a father. He was a husband, and everybody that worked with him had good things to say. Again, you go back and forth in this space, you disagree with people, but wishing death upon anybody. So essentially, yeah, they did arrest this guy, but it wasn't actually him. Charlie Kirk even tweeted a couple of months ago, assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say it would be somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk. Holy crap, 55% said the same about Donald Trump. In California, activists are naming ballot measures after Luigi Mangione. The left is being whipped into a violent frenzy. Any setback, whether losing an election or losing a court case, justifies a maximally violent response. This is a natural outgrowth of left-wing protest culture, tolerating violence and mayhem for years on end. The cowardice of local protesters and school officials have turned into a ticking time bomb. MSNBC hopped on the bandwagon. And this is just the audacity of these people. It's crazy. Here, let me show you.
In which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea. But
in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea.
And yeah, they just speculated that it could have been a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration. Oh my god. Okay, share this tab instead.
Advice of younger figures in this, but following up what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
All right, Doug.
But following up what was just said, he's been one.
You cannot hate the left enough sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't think this was real either. And we this channel, you and your platform have had your differences with Charlie Kirk and his wife, but I always put it akin to Charlie Kirk. He was like your little brother that you kind of made fun of, but you knew when he graduated high school and he got older and stuff like that, that he do big things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he just been around for so long. And for this to happen to him, like Myron has to watch out. I mean, you have to watch out, Pearl. You have to watch out because this could have.
I'm done with street interviews for the year.
Yes.
I'll know.
Any conservatives that are doing street interviews or events, this is setting the precedent that none of them are safe. And so I'm just Charlie Kirk. He went out saying his message, on his mission, doing what he loved to do. And that's, I mean, I'm just at a loss for words. You know me, I'm almost never at a loss for words, but I just can't believe it.
No, that's how I feel. I mean, we grew up like, I just can't. I remember when I was in college and everything was like, I think that was like peak left was about when I was in college. So it would have been like 10 years ago, maybe like 7 to 10 years ago. You barely ever heard any dissenting opinions that were right leaning, especially when you're in very left leaning institutions. And I just remember binging him, Candace Owens, Jordan Peterson. And I'm not saying they're perfect people, but they still were effective at changing people's minds, And it's so sad to just see where the country has come. Where I don't know, I can't remember anybody having issues like this for a decade. And in the past year, Trump had an attempted assassination at an event. Nick had someone come to his house, and now Charlie Kirk was shot dead at an event.